is known probably mostly as a teacher, as a breeder, as an author, as a promoter, as you will see today. He knows how to talk about plants, but he's also a husband, a father, a mentor, lecturer, a lifelong learner, which everybody here is a lifelong learner because you're here to learn. He's a great friend. I have another breeder friend who talks about the word chi, which means internal energy, and he certainly has that, but he also is the Energizer Bunny. If you ever try to follow him around a garden center or a tour, and you're not going to all be getting up and following him today. Everything's going to be right up here on the stage, as I understand. But Mike is a great man. He's got a lot of passion. People that are in breeding, they have this strong belief and hope that what they're working on is going to create something that's better for our industry and for our landscape. And so I would like to pass the baton to you, Mike, and good luck.
I might use that. That might be better.
We're here at Michael Dirr's Shrub Crawl at the iLandscape show.
Yeah, this my wife did.
Michael Dirr is the tree and shrub guy. We're really lucky to have him at the Shrub Crawl.
We on? Yeah, we're cooking. It's a tad noisy in here. We've done this last week at our Georgia show, and nobody could hear anything, but they got to see a few plants, so kind of live with it. I don't know if I want to start with a boxwood, but remember what I said this morning? What are these called? Functional green meatballs. But they're important. Sharing some of this I don't know as well as I should. Some of it's fairly new, but anyway, this one's been around forever. This is green velvet, which we've grown about 5 foot tall. In fact, they got 5 foot on the sign here. I don't want to read the signs, but we've had this in Georgia forever, and it's been remarkably clean. There was green velvet, green gem, several that came out of Sheridan Nurseries, and they're still good boxwood. So hybrids between the Korean box and the common box, sempervirens. And I mean, how do you wax poetic on a boxwood? Let me ask you. I'll look over and let me ask you a question. What's the flower color on a boxwood?
I need to talk to you. I'm writing a story for the Landscape.
Yellow green. When do they bloom?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very good. Where are you? Who said that? You? What do you notice around? There you go. Hey, come here. Give me 5. The lady said bees. When boxwood flowers, I remember my days at the University of Illinois, walking campus. When these things pop out, which is usually March, little yellow, kind of insignificant flowers actually, yellow-green, the bees are just everywhere. And it's one of the first early flowers for bee, literally for bee pasture. So, you know, beyond, here I'm going overboard here, but beyond just a green meatball, what did I just tell you that you could use to sell the plant? You could take care of bees. You can do something better than just put a planting in or a hedge or whatever. So if anybody wants to comment, anybody want to cut? Dave, you want to say anything about this? Let's do the viburnum. My viburnums are sort of second nature. This is Roy Clem's so-called Buccaneer. It's a Viburnum cassinoides, which is the Witherod viburnum. And it's listed, I've not grown this, I grow cassinoides, but it's listed as 4 to 6 feet tall, and if that's the case, I don't know if you know anything about cassinoides, but it's native over all of eastern North America, from literally Canada, Maine, and if you come down to the North Georgia mountains, we got plants. And if anybody ever ride the Blue Ridge Parkway, it's all over the Blue Ridge Parkway. It sits in the highest place, is like 6,000 feet elevation, and there's 15-foot shrubs of this. So what you're looking at, if this is the case, is a 4 to 6 footer. And the other thing, flowers on most viburnums are white. But the fruit on this is what? I showed a picture today. It's a pinkish to a bluish color, so great bird food. And fall color, I haven't seen fall color on this one, but it's anywhere from it's anywhere from a yellow, orange, red. So it's I mean, how do you beat Viburnum parviflora, Viburnum lentigo, Viburnum nudum, Viburnum cassinoides? You don't, and this looks like a good, if I could take this on the plane back on the Delta flight back to Atlanta and Roy'd give it to me, I would. So stop over at Roy's booth, which is close to Bailey, the other side, anyway, and take a look. You want to comment on this stuff, Dave? Anybody? Now, what am I going to say about this? This looks like a spirea. Which one is this? Is this Golden Glow or something else? What is this? Is this yours, pink parasols? No? Oh, Chicagoland Grows. It's a Fritziana, which Fritziana is a 2 to 3 footer, big white flat top corum. And obviously this is a, I don't know this, I don't have it. It's called Pinkalicious. But it's what? Brand new, it says brand new. But it has a pink flower on it. And if you know anything about spireas, the fruits are not showing. So you're growing it for foliage, you're growing it for flower, and then you kind of live with it from there. So a couple plants in a collection, fine. More than 3 is a sin. I guess they can hear. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to, you got a picture of it? I'll turn this over to Doug. You got to do this. I'm not going to hold it. Okay, hold it up. This is what happens when you force a Physocarpus. You know, you don't have enough light. Dave's spinning the sign around, and this is Amber Jubilee, which is again about a 5 footer. I've got this in our Georgia garden, and at the end of summer it looks tatty. As you go further north, it's better. It's a unique, kind of a unique color. It's a, I don't know what you're going to call it, coppery yellow orange. Typical white flowers and reddish capsules, and again a smaller version, but very, very attractive. And I don't know if anybody worn out with Physocarpus. There's a lot of purple Physocarpus floating around. And which is the best, and which doesn't get mildew? So far, this has been clean. You got any comments on this?
It's real clean. It's zone 2 hardy, so it's one of the hardiest Physocarpuses we have. The cool thing is, in the spring, it's bright orange foliage. It does fade during the summer, but then it turns like a russet red color in the fall. It's a really cool plant. Holds up very well. Amber Jubilee.
Dave doesn't want to take responsibility. You can tell I'm really excited about Physocarpus. But it's, no. Well, what do you know anything? Sweet Bonnie. We got how many Physocarpus? 1. Little Devil. Little Devil will get, no matter what the tag says, I'm going to give you the Dirr impression, it'll get 5 feet tall. Small leaves, purple foliage. In the heat of the south, it almost goes green. As you go north, but it stays more purple. But the leaves are really small on this, and it's a cutie. It tends to be a more upright grower. But let me tell you about the species. The species you can find at about 5,000 feet elevation. At least I've seen it that high on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Anybody ever been to Linville Gorge, off the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina? You'll see it growing in the middle of the gorge, whatever the name of the stream is, the river. So this thing is flood tolerant, and it's also literally cold tolerant, and it grows out of rock crevices. So Physocarpus, by their nature, the green one, Physocarpus opulifolius, is an amazingly tough plant. And certainly they've been, since you guys know Diabolo, that was the first one. And not you so much, but every breeder, when they saw that first purple leaf Diabolo come into the cultivation, they grabbed seed, and that's why we got purple. We had summer wine, and I don't know how many different ones floating around. You got a couple coming from the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum, and 1. It looks good. So anyway, that's you want to get excited about this?
Well, this plant we're excited about because it is the best plant that we've tested against the powdery mildew here. We're not saying it won't ever get powdery mildew, but it is the best in the landscape against the powdery mildew. Mike, we got it. You know this one.
No shit. Whoops, sorry. He looks at me like I'm an idiot. He says, you know this was, all my Illinois students, this was one of the great, not dirt plants, but great native plants. And this is Bottlebrush Buckeye, Aesculus parviflora. Yay! I think this Circainanthus virginica should be the national shrub. Hey, the audience is actually, can you hear me? I didn't know they could hear what I was saying. We had this all over the Illinois campus out by the president's house. I don't know if some of you remember, but it's native to Georgia. It has a pretty limited distribution, but it's cold hardy. I've seen it at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum actually with fruit. So you got a zone 4 for sure, all the way down to zone 8, 9. A great shade plant. Give you a little history. Anybody ever look under a mass planting of Bottlebrush Buckeye? You never see any weeds coming up, or any competing vegetation. It's almost like a self-mulching plant, the way it forms the little shoots and little sprouts. It is rhizomatous, so it'll move. And typically, I grow these are I grow them from seed, and in 2 years, 3 years, usually you end up with flowers in the southeast. So it flowers early from seed. In fact, there's only Rogers, Buckeye. There aren't very many cultivars, but it's one of the great natives. It's free of anthracnose and blotch. Flowers are typically, for us, they're May. For you, they're June, July. And it's an unbeatable one. Fall color is what? Yellow. If you got a red one, you tell me, because we're going to go in business together. Where do you live? He said he's seen orange. Anybody seen orange fall color? Earl? Aaron, you see? Look at me. They say you're full of beans. Did you say that? He's full of beans? Anyway, this is one of the great natives, and by all means. Anybody got Bottlebrush Buckeye? If you don't have it in your garden, hey! I don't think you can make a ton of money selling it, because how many are you going to put in the average landscape? Let's see, wait a minute. I got Bonnie. Not that Bonnie. There's a Bonnie in front. What? I'm looking at you. Don't move. What do you remember from this morning's lecture? You were in there about the size of lots these days. We went from how many feet down to, the pressure's on, about 9,000 square feet. House sizes in 20 years have gone up 700 square feet. Lot sizes in about, what was that, 2,000 something, about 5 years, have gone down by 1,000. They're down to about 9,000 square feet. So the point is, we need smaller plants, and Bottlebrush Buckeye is a 10-footer, 8 to 10-footer, so it's gonna get big. But if you got the right spot, you got shade, let it rip. It's one of, she's sweet. Hold your hand up back there. That's sweet Bonnie. What do we think of Bottlebrush Buckeye? Can never have enough. Good job. I probably wore you out on bottle. You can tell what I like and what I don't give a hoot about, but anyway. We got something different. We got a red stem dogwood. You're gonna kill me for saying this, but Cornus sericea is native. Actually, it's amazing. It covers all eastern North America into Canada. But it does not take the heat. It cankers, and that's the problem. And I don't know what makes this better. This is called Bergeson's Rhetoric Dogwood, which they list as 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide, and it does look like it's more upright. You know anything about it else? So don't stand there like me. But that's okay. I don't read the label. The hell with it. But anyway, the flowers are white on Cornus sericea. Fruits are the whitish, maybe tinged with blue. Fall color can be a good red. It says it has good red fall color. You know anymore? And you can grow it in the swamp. I have collected this from, I went to school at University of Massachusetts in Amherst. It's more compact. Well, 8 foot by, I don't know, it says 8 feet by 4 feet, I think. Well, 8 feet by 4 feet is not exactly compact, but anyway, okay. Here, what?
It's actually 4 to 6 by 4 to 6, so it is a more compact.
I contest his description.
I didn't turn in that plan.
8 feet by 4 feet on this tag, which is like every label in every botanical garden you go to. It's wrong. Okay. Where are we? What do we got? Oh, Strawberry Sundae, that's yours. Well, what's happening? It's all Strawberry Sundae today. This is actually an excellent plant. The further north you go, the better the color. The flowers obviously come out white, the typical panicle on a paniculata. Go to a strawberry pink, hence the name Strawberry Sundae. And it tends to be fairly fine branched, but it has these big panicles, so it'll flop. So if you're going to grow it, you want to prune it. But we have one in our Bailey, P.I. Bailey in Athens, Watkinsville, Georgia. It's over 6 feet tall now. I don't know what the size. You got the size on these. It says 4 to 5 feet, but little lime's over 6 feet tall too. So the plants, again, don't read the books. But it's a good one, and I think you could have sold snot out of this thing. You want to say anything? There's come here. You want to hug each other? There's a new one coming. You made me do this. You're gonna suffer with me. Okay? There's a new one called Strawberry Sundae, which is smaller. Oh, that's strawberry? Okay. Oh, I thought I had vanilla strawberry up here. Oh, shit. Let's go back. Backtrack. You were right. I was wrong. Okay, Strawberry Sundae is more, same thing as vanilla strawberry, except it's more compact. That's enough. So we went from 6-7 feet down to 3-4 feet. Well, I argue with you because the plant didn't say that. Anyway, good plant. What do we got? Oh, Viburnum. I don't know why. I've read about this before, but Viburnum prunifolium, I kind of mentioned when we were talking about cassinoides. And the prunifolium is another one of those white flowers. It's, you know, it has a pink to bluish fruit, bluish black fruit. And it's a great native. It's a big plant. It's going to be anywhere between 10 and, what do they got for size on here? They got 10 to 12, but you'll find them 20 feet tall. So, and this one seems to be more upright. Anybody know forest roots or grow it? I don't know. Good? Laura, fall color? Hey, you're supposed to be up here with me. What are you doing back there? They got, I could use you, but it's a viburnum, so it can't be all bad. And any comments? What else can I say? It's a native viburnum. It's worth considering. What else you got? You got?
I'll go grab the Magnolia Virginiana.
This is the new Hydrangea macrophylla that we bred at PI and before Bailey bought the company. We found it in September, October of 2009. It took about 5 years to get it to market. It was released to independents in I think 2014 maybe. And I'm amazed that, you know, here I am selling this thing, but this is the best to date of all the rebloomers. And we've looked at Let's Dance, we've looked at the Magicals, we've looked at the Everlastings, we've looked at LA Dream and on. This one, and you talk to anybody that hasn't, the orders are going to go up and up and up because this is the one for the Midwest. It's good for the East. It's good for the South because it reblooms quantitatively greater than the rest of them. It's as simple as that. The color, as Bonnie will tell you, is how deep, Bonnie? Bonnie just sold one to a lady at she wanted the deepest blue-purple hydrangea. And after the talk, I had a picture of the flowers being so deep. I don't know. She bought. I don't know what she paid for it. It was one of those silent auction deals, but Bonnie had to talk her into it, and she was so happy, she was ecstatic after she saw the picture. But it's got it's got serrata blood in it. It's been through, let me give you the numbers on this. It's been through, at Bailey Nursery, it was through 50 days below zero back in 13-14 winter. Lowest temperature was minus 28 Fahrenheit, and it's still flowered on old wood, small, and I've got pictures of it. I didn't show them today. And came back and flowered. So right now we got the most cold hardy, most prolific, reblooming macrophylla mophead on the market. And if anybody wants to challenge me, give me your plant and we'll set it right next to ours or Bailey's and we'll put it in wherever you want to put it. And this one's going to win 99 times out of 100. And if you got a better one, what do we say? Let me have it because I'll breed with it. Exactly. And well, this is a winner. We continue to work on these. Dave somebody saw the images today. Purple leaf types coming, double types coming. Look at that. And what do you want? We lived in Champaign-Urbana for 7 years. And 7 years down in Champaign-Urbana, 132 miles south here, whatever it is. All I ever saw was green. I saw green leaves. We never had a bloom on the damn things. And that was the Nico Blue Day, the Vicomtesse Diva Bray, the Emile Boulier, the old French hybrids that everybody was selling. And the market's changed. I mean, it really, really changed. Oh, wow. I think we're overtime. You guys okay? Okay, this is overtime. We've got a 5-minute overtime. This is our new Magnolia, which we actually bred in the early 2000s. It's called Centennial Blush. It's a stellata, and obviously it's a little beat up by the elements. But if you counted the number of tepals up here, Bonnie, you want to do this? You can come on. No, it's okay. Look at Bonnie Dirr back there. You would come up with about 50 of these things. The nicest thing, one of the nicest things about it, real quick, it flowers as a young plant in a 3-gallon container, but if you look up and down the stem, what do you see? Flower buds. And it just, it is a spectacle in flower. The foliage is great. It's going to be in the 10 to 15 foot range. It could be a single stem tree or it could be a multiple stem large shrub. And my neighbor who drives by all the time, when she first saw the one in our garden, said, "Oh, Mike, I love a plant of that." So I took her one, and I think she bakes me cookies every year, a big box of cookies. And if I give her 2 plants, I get 2 boxes of cookies. So I know how to work the neighborhood. But I think I'm so excited you took it. We had this thing for so long, and nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. They said, "Well, we got Royal Star, we got Rosia, and we got what are the other ones? Water Lily. You know, there's a ton of star magnolias." The upright habit, the proficiency of bloom, and the number of flowers, the size of the flower, it's fragrant. And this is about as good as it gets right now. Somebody may beat us down the road, but I am excited. We're also, let me throw this out to you. We got a new Bailey. We got a new gunslinger in town. We got a new breeder, and we've talked to Dave Roberts about crossing this with Little Flora Niagara. Anybody know Little Flora Niagara? Deep purple. So we can color it up a little bit deeper, keep it hopefully the same number of tepals. And the future looks good for this. Hey, pop this out of a pot and show the root system on this too, if you can. This is Dave's last. Is this it, Dave? We got another one. Look, spin that around. Look at the root system on this thing. Yeah, somebody said, "Well, you're good, but Mel, I need you more often at these presentations." But this plant will perform as promised, which many don't do. So that's the last Q&A.
We'll make an
Ken, you got
effort
anything on this
to
side with any
post
questions?
on blog.marianilandscape.com a list of all of these plants and some imagery if we can get it. There's a Q&A going now, but you probably won't be able to hear it. So we're going to
Mike?
wrap this up.
I know you have a boxwood up there, but I see a lot of blight on the boxwood, so we're dealing with a lot of problems. Do you have any ideas on how to take care of that, maybe organically, or maybe a cultivar or something that's more resistant? Because it's just like passing through all the yards, and like especially where we're at in the Midwest.
Yeah, somebody I sort of picked up on the boxwood blight. You know, I'm not one of the pathologists that has made money off this, research money off this, but there's been a lot of screening done on cultivars, and some of the Coriaena types, Insularis, macrophylla, are more resistant than the sempervirens. You can go online and go to North Carolina State University, and you'll see the trials, or just type in boxwood evaluations for boxwood blight. And we actually talked about breeding for boxwood blight resistance at Bailey, and just decided not to do it. And I don't think it's devastating as they said it was, but it started in apparently Australia, went to Europe, and obviously in North America. And there's great worry. Any of you remember those top 10 plants I threw up on the screen today? What was number 1? Boxwood. And here's a question for you. We hired a new breeder at the University of Georgia, and I was in a seminar, and I asked him, what can you use as an alternative to boxwood if the boxwood blight proves much like the Dutch elm disease? And I'm asking you the same question. I won't tell you what he said. What are you going to use? What are you going to get that grows from Chicago or Wisconsin, even Minneapolis, St. Paul with the right selection, and Maine, all the way to Central Florida and on the West Coast? Name one broadleaf evergreen that fits that bill. I'd like to know, because we like to breed. We like to breed them. But right now, there's a question back over there too.
Yeah, how hardy is Centennial Blush, and also what was the cultivar name of the hydrangea you were talking about?
Sorry on the hydrangea, good question. The hydrangea is called Bloomstruck, B-L-O-O-M struck, S-T-R-U-C-K. And you might want to talk about, we went through how many iterations of names for this?
There were at least 20.
That confirms.
We went through, the naming on these things is not easy, and then you can't take this to Europe because for some reason, I think they call it Bloomstar in Europe. You know, it translates difference in, here, he wants to take the picture of you looking at him. So, what was the other question was on hardiness on
on the Magnolia?
At least 4. Yeah, well, they're trialing at 3, so I went 3/4. And the best thing about it is heat tolerance in zone 8. I mean, I got big ones in the garden. I got the plant out at the hort farm, which is now probably 12 feet tall. And consistently, it has stayed more upright. And, you know, we talked a little bit this morning, for those that were in there, there's a question over there, about the 20 under 20 program, and this, wherever it went, this will be, I took it back, oh, there it is over there. This will be a great plant for under power lines. I think it's got, you know, people don't want to, they want trees, but they don't want to, the companies don't want to pay to prune them. There's a question here. Oh, we'll come back.
With the decline of the ash, do you have any recommendations for shade trees or large city street trees? Because you talk a lot about shrubs and small plants, and for us shade tree lovers, we want some of your opinion on that.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me do my noble tree talk. Next time we do that. Not next year, but next millennium. No, I'm with you all the way. The Fraxinus issue, I've been on a lot of programs. We were on ISA up in New Hampshire back in October. And the ash decline, I don't know if what it's done to the country. It's taken out millions of trees. There's supposed to be 22 billion ash trees in this country. There's 200? I can't remember the number of billion ash trees. Anyway, there's 22 species that are native to the United States of ash, Fraxinus, and none of them are resistant. The only resistant one is Fraxinus manchurica, and that is no guarantee of that. The question has come up all the time. I worked with Smith Nursery forever, and we've talked ad nauseum about it. One plant that's coming into the fore is Nyssa sylvatica, which you got to get more cold hardy for you guys, but there's now about 30 cultivars of that, where we had 15 years ago we had 10 or 5. We had some great cultivars of black tupelo. Oaks are gigantic. Swamp white oak is being selected again. I'll let Laura, you want to comment on that? Because you're in this part of the world. But oaks are starting to move into the forefront. Swamp white, Ellipsodalis, northern, Jacobin, Muhlenbergii, any white oak member I am extremely high on. It could be Quercus planus, could be Quercus machowii, could be Quercus Muhlenbergii, Quercus bicolor. So those, any oak, I'll tell you what, you give me a card, I'll send you my noble tree handout. It's 15 pages, crafted over 20 years, and I update it all the time, and it's got all the stuff you're asking, which is a great question because I get asked that all the time. The other, you can write down noble tree handout because I'm not going to remember. I got 20 cards already. The other genus is starting to move a little bit. Am I by myself? I'm by myself. There it is. It's Betula. We lost the white, we didn't lose them, but the white bark birches have taken a beating. So what do you use? You got Allegheniensis, you got Betula, you got Betula niger. Niger runs native from Minnesota to Florida. If you go to Maine or any of these places, you don't see Betula parviflora, Betula opulifolius, any of the Asian birches, platyphylla, you don't see any of that stuff going in anymore. It's all river birch. There's a new one out of Minnesota that either Carlton or Homeland has, which is more cold hardy. Carl Whitcomb introduced a new one from Oklahoma, which is more alkaline soil tolerant. So we got more birches coming to the fore, which I think are great trees. Elms are back. When I was in New England, I had a big chat about elms. They said, we can't grow enough elms. And we're still at Princeton, but the Bailey's has introduced a new one called St. Croix, C-R-O-I-X, right? St. Croix. You know about that? Yeah, C-R-O-I-X, which is Dutch elm disease resistant. And we've got the ones from the National Arboretum. Help me out. We got a couple in there from the National Arboretum. I think Valley Forge was one, and there's one, and New Harmony. There's 2. So the Princeton is still the biggest seller, Dutch elm disease resistant. Then you got all the hybrids, and there's one called Emeralds. You know Emerald Sunshine, Japonica. You know that one at all. Anyway, there are a lot of trees that nobody saw. Oh, he wants me to quit. I love you. I can talk trees all day long. Can I talk to him? I'll be totally.
Am I live? Yeah. Okay. What happened to Magnolia Virginiana? Why struggle with a plant, any other magnolia, that will die off too early, where Virginiana blooms later and comes back in the fall gorgeously? You can underplant it. Isn't there more development of something like that, which is a gorgeous plant and hardy here?
Here, wait a minute. The question was, if you didn't hear it, and you don't boom as much as he does, right? It was on Magnolia Virginiana, and why is it used more? The great Earl Cully is over there with your what is it? Aaron, I got an answer for you, and I don't even have to give it. But it's one of the question of hardiness, which Earl said that your publication goes to minus 29. Give her a little history of one of the good ones. It's Jim Wilson or
Moonglow.
Earl has developed one called Moonglow. You want to talk? Okay. All right. Earl Cully developed one called Moonglow, and it's been at his place since the mid 1970s, and it's been through negative 28 degrees in Jacksonville, Illinois. So I think that you might want to try that one. It's an awesome.
I use Magnolia Virginiana. I was introduced by an arborist 10 years ago.
Okay.
And most people don't have a clue of how beautiful and ornamental it is through the season, and it misses all the frost issue. But I would like to see a smaller size of it for a garden. Right now, in my garden, I can contain it, and I do in clients, but most of the time they're too wide and too big. So I would love to see a smaller version of it.
Okay. Well,
And
yeah.
same thing with ginkgos. We have a plant that's been around forever, and the only thing you can find, for the most part, are the huge ones. And we need something smaller in a ginkgo.
Okay.
And they are out there, but the cultivars look like zip. You know, they're too small.
Oh. Okay.
Once again, you'll find us
I don't
blogs.marianilandscape.com.
I don't know if any of you know, you should know Earl Cully. Earl is a champion of tree introductions and tree patents over the years. Heritage Birch is Earl's. And Earl used to speak to some of the Illinois students that might be in here for the Illinois class, and was gracious enough to host the class. We'd go down to Jacksonville and take a look at his tree production system and walk his arboretum. And he was, in reality, he was a pioneer in tree introductions before, I mentioned that yesterday to you, before anybody else even thought about patenting. And Monarch of Illinois, Shawnee Brave, Prairie Sentinel, that's Earl Cully. Round of applause for a great tree production. You gotta wait. The lady that asked about, where'd she go? About the Magnolia. You asked for a small one, you got a good point. There's one called Sweet Thing. You ever heard of Sweet Thing? Write it down. And Earl's is outstanding, by the way, the foliage as well. There's also one called Green Mile, which is more Green Mile, 2 words, which came out of Tennessee, which is stayed evergreen in the Dirr garden. And it's more compact. It's definitely a more compact grower. And again, the same sweet, fragrant flowers that you so dearly love. And it might be deciduous for you up here. It can be evergreen for us. Yeah, so who cares, right? Exactly. So good question you asked there. Rooted from cuttings or grafted. Yeah, either way. Yes.
Thank you, Doc. Very inspirational. Thank you. I'm going to put you to work here. Halesia Carolina silverbells. You've inspired me to always look for the most unusual material to introduce and to get out into the industry in my installations. Only problem is the customer's disappointed, bloomed beautifully, but the foliage is very sparse and the tree almost looks half naked all year long. Is that a cultural problem or is that the way it looks? Halesia Carolina.
No, and you know me, I love Halesia Carolina, and we have several pink ones now, and somebody needs a nice big white bell. There's Yukon Wedding Bells, you know that one? That's a bigger flower form. I'll tell you what happens, they can flower so heavily that the fruits run up and down the stem, and actually the leaf production is reduced, like you're talking about. I don't think you want a sterile one from the standpoint that will flower but not set fruit. And I don't know how you get around it, although I've seen some great ones. Put your name on a card, write Hydrangea. I'm sending you pictures from Heritage. I talked about Heritage Gardens on Cape Cod. They got 280-footers by the old Dexter house. Unbelievable. We need better. You actually got me excited. Yes, no, we need better selections. What do you think you talk about? We're going to National Arena in a couple weeks. They've been breeding Hydrangea, and I've targeted a couple which were clean, just from what you said. No fruits on there, about 4-year-old trees. Most of them were loaded, but this one had no fruits. So if we get flowers without fruits, we're in business.
Could it be that as a 1-year installation, it's just getting acclimated and it's going to fill in after that?
It will fill in better. And Hydrangea, I don't know if you know it, it's tough to transplant. I know you know it because you do it. It's tough to transplant. It's not the easiest thing. So you pull them out of containers or you B&B-ing? Yeah, you're okay on containers, but B&B. There is. I mean, it's a tough one, and we've lost them. We've used them before in consulting jobs, and yeah, you have a good point. But one of the great native trees, and I have seen it as far north as Canterbury, New Hampshire, at the Shaker Village up there, and I'm looking at this 30-foot tree, and I say, that's minus 30 country. Yeah. So
thank you.
No, thank you. You and I are soulmates and don't know it.
Any work on Zelkova for better branching structure?
Yeah, you guys are reading my mind. We use green vase, and the village green looks like an inverted broom. Green vase got a little more grace to it, and then you've got the New Shishino, which is, I don't know if you use that, the more upright. You got a couple out of I'm trying to think of the little one, City Sprite or whatever. You got the small one out of Smith's, which is a sort of an understory kind of tree. But Vi and I, when we spoke at New England Grows, I gave my Noble Tree talk. And I showed a photo of one that was probably from a ship, a sea captain bringing it back on Cape Cod, and it looks like a white oak. And yeah, we are thinking. And I got signwood on the way, but you're young yet. You'll see it. I may not see it as a mature tree, but Zelkova has been. It's not an American elm. We all thought it was going to be an absolute American elm replacement, and it hasn't worked out that way. There's a lot of cultivars. There's Green Veil, which is a weeper. There's Goshiki, which is variegated. There's Ogon, which is yellow. I don't know if you know all these yellow compact trees. So there is a wealth, but I think. Go ahead, use your mic.
I think it's another story.
Oh, okay. The comment was, sorry about rambling that stuff off. He said, find them is another story. Yes, that is. But that's not my job. That's your job. That's a good question.
Thanks for joining us with Michael Dirr. Again, you can find some more information at blog.marianilandscape.com.